Hello, in this training session, I will be talking about how the mimik client library can help you with the microservice deployment to the edgeEngine platform that's running on your local edge device, your iOS device. So, but first, let's make sure that our project, Xcode project, is initialized for the CocoaPods distribution system, and then we have our pods installed like this, so we can open the Xcode workspace file. We have our device attached, so let's just run it quickly to make sure that it compiles. In the meantime, let's add a couple of functions that will help us with the microservice deployment that I prepared earlier. One for deploying, one for undeploying. And let's take a look at the code here. So the API that we are interested in the mimik client library is deploy microservice. Let's take a look at the documentation. It says it deploys, or in other words, installs a microservice to the edgeEngine platform, which runs on your iOS device. And there are a few parameters that we need to specify in the call. First of all, we need to specify an edgeEngine access token. And this is because this API code is secured. And you can get the edgeEngine access token in exchange for your developer ID token that you can get at the mimik developer console. If you don't know about this process, you can check out some of the earlier training materials that talk about the authentication. So in this example project, we are saving the edgeEngine access token in a memory variable. So this is why we are extracting it from here, and we're gonna abort if we don't have it. So we need to make sure that we first authorize and then do the deployment. As far as the configuration, you need to specify the image name for your microservice. This is something that needs to match what you've used when you're creating your local JavaScript microservice, and it's in the configuration of it. So you can name your image name certain way, and then container, best if you can keep them the same. And then the base API path, which is the path that your microservice will be responding to when making API calls to it. And also if you have any environmental variables that your microservice uses. In our example, we're using an mdbug microservice, and it supports an owner code. So it's an UUID we generated, and it's used for further securing the API path. And also we are specifying that we do not support WebSockets on this microservice. And then we have a path check for the image tar file. So let's take a quick look here. So we have a tar file in the project folder. Let's drag it into the project. And now this call should be able to find it under mdbug-v1 with the type of tar. So once we have that sorted, we can supply the edgeEngine access token, the configuration file, and the path to the image tar. So here we're checking for any failures on your board. If we see any, otherwise we will print a success message, and we're gonna also save the deploy microservice object in a memory variable. As far as the opposite process of undeployment, it's very similar. Undeploys or uninstalls a microservice. In this case, we just need to specify the edgeEngine access token and the configuration file. In this case, only microservice name that's used. That should match for our image name and our container name we've used for the deployment process. And again, in this time we get back a bool. So we just need to guard against the failure. We abort if it was successful, and if it was a success, we're gonna print a message in the console log. So that's deployment and undeployment. And now let's see how this works. First, we need our developer ID token, which we can get at the Mimik developer console. Let's copy it. And then we can paste it in here. And this will give us the edgeEngine access token once we call the authorize with developer ID token API. So let's see how this works in practice. So let's add a couple of interface builder outlets here. So you can connect them to two new buttons that we will be adding to our view here. First one, deployment, second one for undeployment. Make them slightly bigger. Let's name the first one deploy. Second one undeploy. Using the assistant, we will connect two new outlets. First for deployment, for undeployment. So we run the application and we should now see two new buttons. Yes, we do. So let's try this in order. Let's first start edgeEngine platform. You can see it has been started. Now let's do the authorize call. I should be able to get the edgeEngine access token. Yes, there it is. We saved it in the memory variable, so now we should be able to use it in the deploy microservice call. So let's try that. Let's clear the log. Deploy microservice success. So it worked. We didn't get any errors. Now we can try to undeploy it. To undeploy. Success as well. That's great. Let's put a breakpoint right after here. Now let's do one more deployment call. This is where you'll be able to examine the microservice in detail. And without, you can see it prints off kinds of interesting information. So that's everything for this session, and thank you very much.